All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something huge today, moving those absolutely critical, stateful applications, the ones that are basically the heartbeat of your business, over to Google Cloud. And we're going to focus on the single most important building block for that, persistent disk.
You know the one I'm talking about, right? That old, maybe a little creaky on-prem database? It's been a faithful workhorse for years, but let's be honest, managing it is probably becoming a real headache. Well, the good news is it's time for a major upgrade, and the cloud is definitely calling its name.
So before we get any deeper, let's just make sure we're all speaking the same language. When I say stateful workload, what am I really talking about? It's simple. It's any app that has to remember stuff from one session to the next. It saves data, it holds on to its state. This is your database, your big ERP system, basically any application that absolutely cannot have amnesia.
Okay, to make all this feel a little more real, let's walk through a classic story. The story of a virtual machine-based application and its trusty database making that big leap all the way from the dusty server room into the super powerful environment of Google Cloud.
Now, I want you to look at this list and tell me if it sounds familiar, because I bet it does. When you're on-prem, it feels like you're always fighting these fires, right? Performance is hitting a wall. Your backups are this complicated dance that you just hope will work when you need it. And scaling? Forget about it. It all just adds up to a ton of time, money, and headaches.
And this is a really important mindset shift. Moving to the cloud isn't just like moving your server to a different building. No, it's about tearing down the old shed and building a skyscraper on a brand new, modern, and incredibly strong foundation. For our apps, that foundation is Google Cloud's persistent disk.
So you're ready to make the move. Awesome. Now comes your first, and I would argue one of your most critical decisions as an architect. You've got to choose the right kind of storage. This single choice is going to set the tone for the performance, the cost, and the future of your application.
So Google Cloud lays out a few really powerful options for you. First, you've got your standard disks. Think of these as the economical workhorse for things like big data and log processing, where you're just writing tons of data sequentially. Then there's balanced disks. These really hit that sweet spot between cost and performance, perfect for most of your web servers and general-purpose apps. And then you have the top-of-the-line SSD. This is for your heavy hitters, your high-performance databases where every single millisecond counts.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What are you running? A simple log pipeline or the mission-critical database that powers your entire company? The answer to that question points you directly to one of these options.
But hang on a second. It's not quite as simple as just picking SSD and walking away. The really crucial thing to understand is the speed you need. And in the storage world, we measure speed in something called IOPS. That's input-output operations per second. Think of it like a highway. IOPS is how many cars can pass a certain point every second. The more IOPS, the less traffic jam for your data.
Just to give you a sense of scale, let's throw a number out there. With persistent disk, you can provision some absolutely serious speed. We're talking tens of thousands of data operations happening every single second.
A big number like that is cool, but so what? What does that actually mean for your application? Well, it means everything. It means your database queries run in a flash. It means transactions get processed instantly. It means your users have a snappy, responsive experience. It's the difference between an app that feels like it's flying and one that's stuck in the mud.
So how do you get that perfect level of performance? It's really a simple three-step dance. First, you've got to look at your app right now. Analyze it. What are its peak IOPS needs? Step 2, set a target for what you want in the cloud. And third, you size your disk. Now here's the magic trick. On Google Cloud, performance is directly tied to disk size. The bigger the disk you provision, the more IOPS you get automatically. So size isn't just about storage space, it's about raw power. Okay, getting everything set up and performing beautifully on day one is an amazing feeling. But your job as an architect is far from over. You have to be thinking about day 2 and day 3 and day 300. You have to think about managing and protecting that data.
Let's just be completely honest here. You can have all the performance in the universe, but it means absolutely nothing if your data goes poof. Your data's single most important feature is that it continues to exist. And this is where snapshots, which are basically point-in-time backups of your disk, become your absolute best friend.
Pay close attention to this because these are the traps that so many people fall into. The number one pitfall? People just forget to set up backups. The pro tip is simple. Automate your snapshots on a regular schedule. Another one? Running out of disk space unexpectedly. The fix? You have to set up monitoring and alerts. And the biggest, most dangerous pitfall of all?
having a backup that you've never actually tried to restore. You have got to test your recovery plan. You have to know it works before you need it.
Wow, okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's pull all of this together into a simple, practical checklist. Think of this as your personal blueprint for a successful migration.
And just keep this in mind. Being a great architect isn't just about knowing the specs of a disk. It's about having the foresight to plan for the future, for performance, for growth, and for those what-if disaster scenarios. This checklist is your tool to give you that foresight.
So here it is, your cheat sheet. First, profile your application's IOPS, know what you need. Then, select the right disk type for the job. Remember to size that disk not just for how much data you have, but for the performance you need. Then, put an automated snapshot schedule in place. Set up monitoring so there are no surprises. And please, 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 create and regularly test your data recovery plan. If you just check these boxes, you're putting yourself on a path to a massive win.
So there you have it. We've walked through the what, the why, and the how of moving your most important applications to Google Cloud on persistent disk. You now have the fundamental blueprint for building incredibly resilient, high-performance systems. So the only question left is, what are you going to build next?